How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Chaos Head Noah. We have gotten to know this character a little bit in the previous episode. Kazoe, I believe is her name, or Kozupi, or whatever you want to call her. I used to think that she was annoying, actually, because of my horrible venture through the anime all those years ago. But no, she's, well, she is annoying, but she's not as bad. She's not as annoying, I guess you could say. And she's got this weird deal going for her. Well, besides the whole, like, speaking with only her mind, but she has this, like desire to kill. I don't know if that makes her a better character, but it is worth noting, if anything. I tilted my head, having just listened to Kozupi's story. Who the hell was that man she kept talking about? The homeless guy carrying around a sign. Come to think of it, I felt like I'd seen him around a few times too. Was it the same guy? What I didn't get, though, was why some random bum knew so much about D-swords. Or was the... Oh wait, what the fuck? Why is there a forward slash there? Was he the odd one out? Maybe D-swords were actually huge in Japanese pop culture, and I'd just been living under a rock or something. Fat chance. I glanced over at Kozupi. Her face was so calm and peaceful, it was hard to believe that she ever blurted out psycho things like wanting to kill people. She gently glided her fingers over the surface of her D-sword. I guess another annoying thing, if we're just gonna start counting up the things that I find annoying about her, is that this is the way she speaks. And yeah, obviously the text is gonna make it all sound, I guess, cutesy or whatever, but you can kind of hear it in the way that she's speaking as well. It doesn't sound like normal. Hey, yo? Okay. I didn't know what to say. What the hell? Oh, god damn it, this is exactly what I was talking about. It sucks trying to think when she's listening to every thought I have. You know, I don't know how to feel about these characters when they face us, like, directly like that. It's just a little weird. I bit my lip and then stood up. My nosebleed had stopped, so I pulled out the tissue crammed into my nose. Kozupi tilted her head as she looked up at me. I'm going home. Okay. That works. Even though my sides were still killing me, I ignored the escalators and elevators and took the stairs down to the first floor instead. It was much easier to dodge the crowds and make my way outside that way. Teary-eyed, Kozupi timidly followed behind me. Why do you still have that out? I disregarded Kozupi's question. I was too focused on trying to sort out the thoughts in my head. That homeless guy she'd met, could he have been one of Shogun's comrades? And what the hell was up with him mentioning whose eyes are those eyes? They're my eyes. Who had he been talking about when he'd said, the boy who birthed whose eyes are those eyes? Me? That couldn't be right. I wasn't even close to special. Being a hero just wasn't in my blood. I mean, I couldn't even get my hands on a damn D-sword. I was just an average Joe, villager A. The not protagonist. Side character, some may call it. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Being special? No thanks, man. I'd rather not have another O-front breakdown in my lifetime. So that begged the question, who was that boy? It's us. It has to be, right? I considered the real culprit behind the NewGen cases Shogun. No way Shogun was anything other than an old man, but his voice and body made him seem like a kid more than anything. Pretty much everything about him screamed how abnormal he was, how he was someone special. 2 of the 6 current NewGen cases had whose eyes or those eyes appear at the scene of the crime in some capacity. I use that phrase quite a bit, but only ever in my own head. They barely even meant anything. So what the hell were they doing in all those places? You know, she's probably hearing all of this. Was there an actual reason in there somewhere? One that would reveal why Shogun was so persistent in coming after me? Maybe the homeless guy had some clues I could work with. I imagine he was still somewhere in the city carrying around his cryptic sign. I should look for him. Is she still following us? So I look for him, and then what? I paused for a moment and then shook my head in denial of what I'd been thinking. What good would it do to look for him? It was a whole lot more likely to just put me in harm's way. For all I knew, that guy was one of Shogun's minions, only there to lure me into some horrifying trap. So if I just cruised my way over to the guy, there was a strong chance it would just trigger another quest. I didn't know if I could handle that. I was already sick to death of all the pain and terror I'd been going through lately. And my suspicions didn't end at the homeless guy. I was even suspicious of Kozupi. She didn't really have any reason to, and yet she was speaking to me with her inner voice. Why was that? Had she been under orders by Shogun to approach me just like Yua? With her really unsettling stance on both attempted and actual murder, it was very possible that she was an accomplice in NewGen. After all the mayhem at Ofront, Rimi had just up and vanished, and I hadn't heard a word from her since. Then Ayase had been hospitalized after her attempted suicide. Nanami was fine, supposedly, but the 2 people on my side had still completely disappeared on me. Was there any guarantee Rimi would ever come back? For starters, was she really just taking time off from school? Granted, I only knew that because Kozupi had told me, and I had no way of knowing if she was lying or not. All my hairs stood up on end, howling at me that something was off. In the end, me and my world were all too empty, hollow. There was nothing left to believe in, nothing that didn't seem like a lie. That is true, but yeah, I was right. She's still following us and listening to us. Kozupi was standing right behind me. Her inner voice was as carefree as always. Her brutal-looking D-sword sat comfortably in both her hands as she carried it around, and then she cast an upward glance at me. I averted my eyes. Are you my ally or my enemy? Which is it? Did you come here to kill me? Just what? Kozupi suddenly yelped in excitement. Startled, my head jolted upward only to realize it wasn't me that she was looking at, nor the person she was waving to. Hey, yo, it's Senna. Senna shot. Wait a second. Tracing the end of Kozupi's gaze, sure enough. Yeah, that's her. It was Aoi Senna, with a D-sword to her shoulder. As she walked toward us, her expression made it clear that her mood was just as sour as ever. I reflexively tensed up. Yeah, the last time we saw her, she was like really upset with us. What's Senna doing here? Is it just another coincidence, or is it a calculated trap? Do these 2 know each other? If they did Kozupi call her here? Are the 2 of them here to kill me? Yeah, but what's safe to believe in? Although it is true that no matter how many times I've run into Senna, she's never tried to attack me. But that doesn't mean she's my ally. Besides, she's scary as hell. Kozupi, I could really go without the commentary.
怖い？何のことだ？
As I'd figured, Senna could hear Kozupi's inner voice too.
なんでもないです。
Kozupi simply bathed in delight as I bumbled about. Facing the ground, she gently grasped the hem of Senna's clothes and smiled bashfully. The two were such an amusing combination. I felt stupid for getting so nervous. What? They're just like sisters. One, the strong and firm older sister, the other, the younger, more timid sister who loves her sibling more than anything. And on top of that, both of them have small breasts. So mega freaking GJ there, nature, good job? Okay. I don't think that's what's going on here, but okay. I suppose. Wait, shit, chill out. What if Kozupi reads my mind again? If I'm not careful, I could easily die here. And yet we continue to do it. How are those two related anyway? Are they classmates? Maybe not, since they're in different grades and all. Is there something connecting the sorts of people who have swords? Are the two of them Shogun's underlings? I put myself in the cat stance in case I had to escape at a moment's notice. What that specifically entailed was standing with my heels raised off the ground. That would allow me to speed away like a cat if the need arose. Maybe. I don't know, I'd seen it in some manga forever ago. So we haven't even practiced it.
コズピーが東京に来てから最初のお友達なのら。ね。
Rather than answering, Senna merely glared at me. I'd figured she was about to lunge at me with that sword of hers, but that never happened. Calling her scary hadn't seemed to have pissed her off to that extent at least.
小杖、どうしてこいつと？
たくみちゃんはクラスメートです。
Takumi-chan?
ほいでね、たくみちゃんはコズピーの剣が見えるんだよ。
Oh, she should know. She should know.
それは知っている。こいつもギガロマニアックスだ。
Oh, is that the first time we're hearing this shit? It's hard to keep track. Gigolo what now?
ギガロマニアックス。
Yeah, it's what we all are. Us D-sword wielders minus Takumi.
理想度が見える人のこと。たくみちゃんもそうだよ。
A Gigalomaniac? Who in the world decided to name it that? Given it has a name and all, or at all, maybe these powers aren't all that uncommon?
あは、セナさんはガルガリ君買いに行くとこなんですね。
それは。
From the sounds of it, Kozupi had read Senna's mind. Speaking of, I'd seen Senna eating crunchy coons in the past. With winter right around the corner, I wasn't sure why she'd be eating popsicles of all things. I guess she just really liked them.
ほいじゃあ、みんなで一緒に行きましょう。
Announcing that with her inner voice, Kozupi clung to Senna and pulled her along.
たくみちゃんも早く。
いや、僕は。
I tried to turn her down so I could get out of there already, but Kozupi started tearing up almost immediately. Her teary eyes looked up at me as she silently pleaded with me. On top of that, Senna was glaring at me like she was ready to rip my throat out with her teeth at any moment.
ついてこい。お前にもおごってやる。
And it looked like Kozupi had scored a critical hit on Senna with her teary assault. Urging me to follow, I reluctantly trailed behind her, heading toward the convenience store right behind the police station. What a weird situation we've got ourselves into here. After buying each of us a crunchy coon, we sat near the handrails in front of the police station, nibbling away at them. While Kozupi looked delighted as could be, Senna's air of indifference remained the same. I was stressing out. The police were right there in the station in front of us. And yet, despite that, they paid no mind to the fact that two people with me were in utter violation of the swords and firearms control law. The police were supposed to police people. The girls were right in their line of sight, but they didn't even try to arrest them. In fact, they didn't even care enough to slap us with a warning.
食べないの？
Now that Kozupita had pointed out, I just went screw it and started eating my Crunchy-kun. Though it was bothering me how people were staring. Though I suppose that was only fair. Senna and Kozupi were cute as hell, and the very idea that two small-chested sisters like them were hanging out with an otaku freak like me, just sitting and eating Crunchy-kuns together out in the cold, well, it was all pretty absurd. By the way, it's though I suppose, not supposed. Maybe I was overthinking it? I couldn't block out the snickering in my ears. Was I just hearing things? Was it another auditory illusion? Or was it just Kozupi laughing? I didn't want to stand out. I didn't want to be looked at. I was afraid of people gazing at me. I probably should have worn a hat. Seriously, I really wanted to get out of here this second. I continued hurriedly eating my Crunchy-kun so I could leave already, and every bite left my body feeling even colder. This was gonna give me diarrhea real bad later. How are these two not freezing?
で、小杖。なぜこいつと一緒なんだ？
こいつじゃなくて、たくみさんですよ。たくみさんが悪い人にいじめられてて倒れてたのら。だからコズピーが解放してあげたの。
So she'd been the one who'd looked after me.
ディソードを使ったのか？
殺したかった。どっかバキって。
Alright. Kozupi was attempting to gesture wildly in an attempt to explain how things went down. But since her left hand was busy holding her colossal D-sword, she was just waving the other around all spastically. Which of course was the same hand that held her Crunchy-kun. She'd only taken a single bite of her Crunchy-kun before launching it into the air with a perfect arc. The popsicle soared through the sky before eventually landing smack dab in the middle of the road where it splattered into pieces. Well, that is kind of what you get there. I mean, you were just waving your hand around, you know, like, oh man, I wanted to kill them and I was doing this and that. Kozupi was on the verge of tears as she stared at what remained of her popsicle.
うかつな真似は避けろと言っただろ。アイスのことじゃない。ディソードのことだ。
Senna held out her half-eaten Crunchy-kun to Kozupi, seemingly giving up what she had left. Still a bit teary-eyed, Kozupi smiled as she accepted the popsicle with a bow of her head. Color me surprised. I guess even Senna had her moments.
でも悪い人には罰ゲームをするのが当たり前だよ。
Speaking of those assholes, who exactly had turned them to mincemeat? Kozupi or me?
たくみさんセナさんはね、すごーく何でも知ってるんだよ。リソードっていう名前もセナさんに教えてもらったのら。あとリアルブータ、あれれ、ブッダ
Real boot.
リアルブート。
あ、そう。
The hell did that mean? I'd never heard of that before. That was just as cryptic as the giggle whatever thing from earlier.
リアルブートしてない件は誰にも見えなかったはずなのにね。セナさんにだけ見えてたの。リソードが見える人に会ったの、セナさんが初めてだったんだ。その時はおひゃーって思って、なんで見えるんですかって聞いちゃった。ギガロマニアックスだからなんだって。
ギガロマニアックスって何なの？
I think we already got the answer to that earlier.
剣が見える人だよ。
A bit more detail here. Like, how does that work?
ディラックの海に干渉できる力を持つもの。
Okay, that we need to look into. A concept in quantum mechanics defined by Paul Dirac. An unobservable primordial soup of all elementary particles that is said to be uniformly distributed throughout the world. It appears in the wave equation, the Dirac equation of the whole theory, which ties together both quantum theory and the theory of relativity. Dirac defines the vacuum as a state in which negatively charged elementary particles are so tightly packed together, or no more can be created. This is the Dirac Sea. Well, I got nothing out of that one right there.
それがギガロマニアックスだ。
Rather than Kozupi, it was Senna who'd answered what was on my mind.
ディラックの海。
Senna shot me a scornful glance as I tilted my head in puzzlement. The hell was that look for? Sure, I may look like an idiot, but I'm pretty damn smart when it comes down to it, you know? I was pretty sure the Dirac Sea was a concept relating to quantum mechanics.
負のエネルギーでいっぱいに満たされた観測不能の境界面とかだっけ？
大雑把に言えばそんなようなものだ。そしてそこに干渉するための端末がディソード。ディラックの海に突っ込んだパイプの先端と考えればいい。ディラックの海とつながっているからディソードも負の物質で構成されている。無限に崩壊している存在なんだ。
Alright, we're doing a lot of tip reading today. Matter whose weight is lighter than zero, impossible to observe. Each and every substance in the universe has its own minimum amount of energy it requires in order to exist and maintain stability. If the amount of energy falls below zero, however, it means that the matter will continue to collapse infinitely. Excuse me there. Alright.
だから普段は普通の人間には触れることも見ることもできない妄想のようなものでしかない。このディソードこそあらゆるリアルブートのためのショートカット的役割を果たす。ディソードとディラックの海とのチャネルを大きくすることでディラック方程式の空港理論によって対生成が起き粒子と反粒子を作り出せる。
Alright, we got quite a few more things to read. Elementary particle, the smallest unit of matter, but the definition of what constitutes an elementary particle is unclear. Certain elementary particles have a corresponding antiparticle with an opposite charge. In the whole theory presented by Paul Dirac, Dirac predicted that antiparticles, or positrons, would be generated via pair production in the whole created at the vacuum interface. Now, pair production. A phenomenon where both particles and antiparticles are generated upon the collision of a large amount of energy with a nucleus of something similar. In Dirac's whole theory, this is when the vacuum collapses. Conversely, the collision of a particle and an antiparticle results in the annihilation of both particles. Okay? And whole theory. The Dirac equation, discovered by Paul Dirac, led to the baffling conclusion that electrons containing negative energy do in fact exist. In order to explain this, the whole theory was founded, a theory which served to reveal the existence of the Dirac Sea. The Dirac Sea is impossible to observe, as a space consisting of matter infinitely collapsing into itself is not visible to the human eye. However, when a high amount of energy is applied to the boundary of that space, the vacuum interface, the vacuum temporarily collapses, turning those negative electrons positive, and those electrons then pierce through the boundary. By observing that positive energy, one can prove the existence of the Dirac Sea. Damn, I do not remember shit from any of my science classes.
この粒子がギ
But
ガ
I
ロマ
can
ニア
tell
ック
you
スが
guys
生み
that
出
this
す
is
妄
all
想。
like a
世界にとって
little
のエ
too
ラー。
weird for me.
そのエラーを現実とするには作り出した粒子を他人のデッドスポットに送り込めばいい。粒子は即座に電気信号に変換され周囲の人間に共通の認識現実として成立する。逆に消したいときは粒子を送り込んだデッドスポットに今度は反粒子を送り込み追消滅してやればいい。
I kinda get it. Kind of. Not enough to, like, explain it back, but I kinda get what she's throwing down. Right, I remembered Senna mentioning that before.
世界の仕組みは3つの数字で全て説明できる。0と1、そしてマイナス1。ディソードはそのマイナス1を生み出すためのショートカットになる。
This was all giving me a headache.
周囲の人間に共通の認識となると妄想が現実になるってどういうこと？
例えば お前が今手にしているガルガリ君、お前にはどう見える？
どうって、水色をしたアイス。
その水色のアイスは本当に現実だと証明できるか？
I mean, what else would it be? It was a Crunchy-kun. Anyone with eyes could see that, and everyone with a mouth could feel how cold it was with every bite. I would think that'd be a pretty obvious answer.
人は目で見たものを脳が認識して初めてそれが水色のアイスと理解できる。でも脳が本人の意識しないままに嘘をついている可能性だってあるんだぞ。脳が生み出した自分一人だけがそう思い込んでいる妄想かもしれないんだ。
じゃあどうやって現実だって証明するの？
他の人もお前の持っているものが水色のアイスであると観測すれば、それは2人以上の人間の共通の認識となる。お前一人だけの妄想じゃなくなるんだ。妄想を現実にするときにはそれを逆説的に捉えればいい。
To break it down then, a person's solitary delusion could become reality by forcibly showing it to someone. And this could be done by using particles created by a D-sword to attain mutual recognition, or something along those lines. Then, did I have that power too? I mean, think about this. That flower bed, it wasn't there. But a delusion by Takumi pulled it from nothing to something. And nobody doubted that that didn't just show up. It's as if it was always there. Everyone therefore shared the same delusion of there being a flower bed there at all times. It became reality because Takumi forcibly pulled it into reality. He showed it to everyone, and everyone just accepted it.
とにかくこの剣は普通の人には見えないの。
Kozubi returned Senna's Crunchy-kun and then trotted back toward the road. Then in front of all the people walking along the road, for some inexplicable reason, she suddenly began whirling around her D-sword wildly.
やべ！
I shielded my eyes. So those were her true colors. In the end, she was nothing more than a homicidal maniac. Any second now, the road would become a sea of blood. Anyone crossing paths with that colossal blade would have their body torn to pieces. With a police station right in front of us, they'd catch her in the act. It would be an open and shut case.
たくみさん、そんなことにはなってないよ。
Why was it so quiet? A whole crowd that had just gotten mowed down with her sword in broad daylight right here in the heart of Shibuya. And yet there hadn't been a single scream. The cops hadn't even intervened because nothing happened. I slowly uncovered my eyes. Nothing had happened, nothing at all. Kozupi, looking a tad embarrassed, was still brandishing her colossal sword. You would think the sword would have struck anyone nearby, or maybe some railing, or even the ground, but no, not a thing was damaged. If anything, the sword was passing right through everything, as if everything else was an illusion. Wait a second. Actually, I had that backward. It was the sword that lacked substance. The people walking around us weren't bothered in the slightest. They couldn't see the sword. It's still in the realm of delusions in a way. It's like in an in-between.
理想度は妄想の剣なのだ。
ISA had said something along those lines, that the swords could only be seen by those who possessed the power. Standing next to me, Senna let out an exhausted sigh before taking another bite of her Crunchy-kun.
あの理想度は今は梢の作ったエラーでしかない。周囲共通認識はまだ成立していない。
リアルブートしたらみんなに見えるようになるのです。
Real booting. That would mean sending particles into the dead spots of surrounding observers, yeah? Not that I knew what the hell a dead spot even was.
ズシャーってしたり、ドガーってできるようにもなるよ。
Can you please explain with anything other than sound effects? Still, I think I got the picture. Slishy slash was probably for cutting and smashy crash was for hitting? What was this girl going around cutting and hitting? Did Kosupi seriously do such horrifying stuff like that? And what about me? Did I have the power to do that too? No, I wasn't special. I wasn't a Gigalomaniac. And in the end, I hadn't even been able to attain a D sword.
剣は見えたよね。だからそのうち匠さんもモテるの。
I'm telling you, it's no good. Even back at O-Front, it just didn't work. Sure, I did see a sword there, but I had zero clue how to actually grab it.
どうやって手に入れるかっていうと。
Kosupi peered at Senna as if to urge her to do something. Senna let out another sigh.
バイオリズムの上昇によって中脳変影系ニューロンのドーパミンが過剰分泌された時、ディソードは現れる。それは危機的な状況や興奮、悲しみ、憎しみ、笑いなど人それぞれだ。ドーパミン分泌量が多ければそれだけ観測しやすくなる。
Well, time to go get myself some dopamine.
匠さん、
And
そういう
melatonin.
ことなのら。
It was just absurd how wide Senna's knowledge was. She might very well be an outright genius. I mean, with explanations this detailed, you'd think she majored in gigalomaniacology? Let's go with that. That was even a thing. For starters, I couldn't imagine there being any other girl in all of Japan who could spout theories and jargon off the top of her head to this degree. Where on God's green earth had she studied literally any of that? What was with all the mysterious characters accumulating around me? I was dying for an answer. Thinking about it all just wore me out. It sucked ass only half understanding what was going on. Hey, it's how I get through most visual novels and anime that I pick up. But I didn't have the strength to look into it myself because none of these people were normal in the slightest. Grappling with those feelings of bitterness, I took one last bite of my thawing crunchy-kun.
当たりだ。
Oh, what luck. It said win on what was visible on the stick, or of the stick. Kosupi came back and peered onto my hand.
匠さん、すっごいね。
Wow, some good luck.
大した運だな。
セナさん、自分も当たりが出てほしかったって羨ましがってるのら。
そんなことは思っていない。
I doubted Kosupi could be so easily fooled here, given her ability to read everything on someone's mind.
セナさんはいつも当たりが出ないかなとワクワクしながらガルガリ君を食べてるのら。当たりを引いたのはどれくらい
1割3分7に。
She really had this stuff down to a science. Did she calculate all that every time she ate one? Finishing her crunchy-kun as well, she gave the leftover stick a quick glare, only to let out a quiet snort. She must have lost, or at least her face made it look that way. What do we get for winning? That's what I want to know. Okay, we haven't done a delusion for a while.
よかったらどうぞ。
We haven't done a delusion for a while. Let's do a good delusion. I timidly held out my winning stick. I know we
他人に施
shouldn't.
しを受けるつもりはない。
I know we shouldn't do a delusion here, but, you know,
私
why
は
not?
自分の可能性を試しているだけだ。
でも本心では欲しいって言ってるね。
あげますよ。僕アイスはあんまり食べないし。
Well, let's see what happens here. Nothing. Senna pursed her lips and then she nervously accepted the popsicle.
ありがとう。
I was lost for words, astonished. I would have never imagined that I'd ever get to hear Senna thank me. Likely unaware of my surprise, Senna glanced at me.
お前、優しいな。
Okay, we're in a delusion. There's no way. Muttered those few words quietly and then immediately looked away. Was it just me? Or had she been blushing a little bit just now? Well, she'd given me an honest thank you, which was enough to make me reevaluate her a little bit. I'd originally just thought that she was scary and nothing else, but she actually had a cute side to her.
セナさんは今ので今ので
Kozubi spun around in place, peered happily at Senna's face, and then at mine.
たくみさんのこと好きになっちゃったのら
小杖、何をバカな。
顔がプップーってなってるの。
うるさい、うるさい。
Oh, did she have any idea what she just said? The mother of all tsunderes, blue-eyed Jun's signature catchphrase. I started to grin out of sheer glee, and Senna's fingers shot in front of my face.
お前もニヤニヤしてるんじゃない。
I had never seen Senna act so adorably agitated before. I was starting to feel a bit mischievous, so I decided to test her.
ガルガリ君は好きですか？
悪いか。
どの辺が？
美味しいだよ。
それだけ。
あと、かわいい。
While she was still sullen, Senna then said something that was incomprehensible to me.
かわいいかわいい。
Had she just gendered a popsicle? And also, how could popsicles be cute? Or even uncute?
アイスがじゃないからな。ガルガリ君がかわいいんだ。
Oh, she was talking about the mascot. Cute.
あのイガグリ頭が最高だ。
Okay.
抱きしめて頬ずりしたくなる。
What the fuck? The expression on Senna's face as she spoke reminded me of a maiden in love. Well, different strokes for different folks, I guess.
それよりお前、
たくみさんですよ。
たくみしゃんなのか。
違う。シャンはつけなくても。
名前は？
I had a feeling I'd already told her my name before. She'd probably just forgotten it.
西条匠です。
だったら西条、もうこれ以上エラーを作るのはやめておけ。
は？
なんで？ケンは自分の心なのら否定しちゃダメ。コズピーはこのケンのおかげで助かったよ。
Saved? What had happened in Kozupi's past? And this question tied in with her wish, too, the one where she'd said that she wanted to kill.
妄想を現実にする行為にはリスクがつきまとう。粒子とともに追生成される反粒子はディソードにストックされていくんだ。反粒子は数学的に言えば過去へ向かうものだから。ストックすればするほどギガロマニアックスには現在の状態とのズレが発生し、やがてその矛盾により存在としての自己崩壊へ至る。
In Japanese, please.
小杖もあまりディソードを出すのはやめるんだ。普通に生活していきたいなら私の忠告を聞け。これはお前たちの命に関わる話だ。
Wait, aren't you always using your D-sword? I've seen you using yours more often than any other character here. It didn't look like Senna was joking. Then again, she wasn't the type to joke anyway.
ましてや西条、お前はディソードなしでリアルブートした。本来ならそんなことできるはずがないんだ。リラックの海にはディソードを通してしか干渉できないんだから。お前は普通じゃない。奴らに目をつけられてもおかしくない。
奴らって？
ギガロマニアックスの力を悪用しようとしている連中がいる。
それって将軍？
Nah, the committee.
知らない。誰だそれは。
Kozupi, did Senna just lie?
ついてないよ。
西条、将軍とは誰だ？
The sheer chill in her voice sent shivers down my spine. Naturally, I couldn't look her in the eye. Okay. She grabbed me by the chest, making it hard to breathe. Why did she have to be so violent? What had I even done wrong?
そいつは40代ぐらいの男か？
違うよ。小さなじいさんだよ。
Senna immediately let go of me.
そいつもギガロマニアックスなのか。
わからない。でもニュージェネの真犯人だよ。
真犯人だと。
Senna placed her finger on her chin and then began to ponder something while remaining completely still. The air felt volatile. I was hit with a strange feeling of anxiety. Senna knew something. But what the hell did she know? Who were these people that were trying to abuse the power of Gigalomaniacs?
あ、そうだそうだ。3人で記念撮影しましょう。ほらあれ。
Why? Suddenly, Kozoe pointed to something as she spoke enthusiastically. She was pointing at... okay. The arcade next to the police station. When it came to taking commemorative photos, this was where it had inevitably happened. Lovely. I was wondering what the screenshot that I was going to use for the thumbnail was going to be this time around. Looks like I found it. Easy shit.
たくみさん、ほら真ん中。
いや、僕は。
セナさん、横見てたらダメです。
私はこういうのは。
コズピーだって初めてなのだ。時々。
Without once consulting us, Kozupi followed the instructions on the screen and pushed button after button. And before Senna and I could get ready, mentally and physically, a voice came from the screen.
はい、ポーズ。パシャッ。
What the fuck? What the fuck is this shit, man? In the picture we had taken, neither of the D-swords were visible. Well, yeah. I mean, come on. That kind of like lines up with everything we were just, you know, taught and informed about.
ほいじゃあね。また明日なのら。
Yep, bye-bye. See you guys in the next fucking episode. We're done with this one. Damn. A really long chapter. Or at least it feels that way because of everything that's just been, like, going on. I don't know. I mean, right now I feel like we're getting some information dumps, which is probably a good thing. We're learning about more characters and we're trying to figure out what sort of mechanics are at play here, which will hopefully help us lead us into the direction of the answer, maybe, perhaps? I don't know. It's all still so confusing, as God intended. Thank you all for watching this episode. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz, and I will see you all in the next one. Take it easy.